I love Naples. I love Collier County. And over the course of my many years here, I've had the incredible experience to understand what makes us the best place in America to live. And let me tell you, it's not just our beaches. Far from it, actually. It's our people, and it's our partnerships. And none of it's happened by accident. I've seen it time and time again. The more people learn about what's happening in our community, the more they come to the realization, this is not happening where I come from. Collier is special. Collier is unique. That's why I'm bringing you Community Matters. Think of this as your Collier County 101. I'm your guide, introducing you to the people and the resources that I think that you should know through short, real conversations so that you feel more empowered and ready to engage in ways that will positively impact your life, your family, your careers, and this beautiful place that we get to call home. Because community matters. Hello, I'm Amanda Pearson, and welcome to Community Matters. I am thrilled to introduce to you today my friend Andres Paz. Andres is the founder of Latinos 239. I'll get into a little bit more of that, but welcome, Andres.
Thank you so much, Amanda, for having me over here.
I'm happy to have you. Thank you for having me here. Andres is my media partner for this new podcast, and I have to just start off by saying none of this would be possible without him, so I'm so excited to share a little bit more about the work that you're doing. Andres is the founder of Latinos 239, which is a multifaceted initiative dedicated to connecting and empowering Hispanics in Southwest Florida. As the CEO of Latinos 239 Media, he oversees a dynamic portfolio of ventures, including Latinos 239 Magazine, Latinos 239 Show, Latinos 239 Now, Latinos 239 Podcast. I'm getting a little tongue twisted with all of this. And he is designated to uplift, inform, and support the Hispanic community. With that being said, part of what we're going to focus on today is that you're now serving as the executive director of the Latinos 239 Foundation, which was going to lead the efforts to advance the economic and social empowerment by focusing on employment and entrepreneurship, education, healthcare, and legal assistance and housing for the Hispanic population. But I want to also note a couple things too. But beyond his professional career, Andres has dedicated more than 15 years to community service here locally in Collier County. He's volunteered with over 25 organizations, and he currently serves as the board on the board of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals in Naples Velo, furthering his commitment to economic empowerment and community engagement. But, I would like to know, as I would like to know with everybody, why don't you tell us a little fun fact about you that most people wouldn't know about you?
I would say one thing that most people don't know is that I'm actually an introverted extrovert. So I am shy. I am super camera shy, and I am shy in some settings, and often I also need to reset. So you might see me like, oh my God, he's attending a ton of events.
Yes, you do.
And I do that often. And then it's like, what happened to him? I haven't seen him in 2-3 weeks. I need that time and space to recharge.
Fascinating. I definitely did not know that about you, and I've been your friend for over 10 years, but it makes sense. Well, I hope that you get the time that you recharge to need after today.
I do, and that applies to everything, personal and like business, even to cycling. For example, I could ride sometimes, 20 out of 22 days, and then I need to take a week off. Not just to like recharge physically, but just because of all the dynamics around cycling and talking to people and whatnot.
Extroverted introvert. Noted. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the work that you're doing to both reach and support our Hispanic community in Collier County, regionally as well. But specifically, we're going to focus on your new foundation. But before we get to the foundation, I want to know a little bit more on how you got there, because it is new. So like I said, I've known you and worked with you for over 10 years. And over the years, you would ask me some really tough questions, I would say. And you would say, Amanda, how are you reaching the Hispanic population? Because we're friends very directly. And I think to myself, I don't know. Or you would ask me, you need to understand the value that this can bring, right, to any work that anybody's doing, right? And I thought to myself, well, what am I doing? And I just want to see, can you share a little bit more about, what our Hispanic population represents here, and how and why do you think that reaching this population is obviously very important?
Number one, well, this is a passion project for me, the foundation. And it's not my foundation, it's our foundation. Thank you so much for agreeing to be one of our board members.
Absolutely.
And you will play a big role in the foundation. Then it comes from my desire to help more Hispanics. I have been in media for a long time. I have been in media 17, 18 years. I can't remember, with different media companies. I had an amazing experience at Media Vista with Orlando and Mayela when together we ran Univision for almost 7 years, the Latinos and all the media properties there. And I've always kept my eye on the Hispanic population. First, because that was our job, because we cater to the Hispanic population and we use our media platforms to connect businesses and institutions with Latinos in Southwest Florida. And then I also enjoyed that. It was a combination of the two. At many points in time in my career, I could have probably switched over to a different industry and probably made a lot more money too, but stayed there because it's a job that I always enjoyed. I absolutely love serving the Hispanic community, and it's very important to me. The Hispanic community is super important. Right now, we're close to 30% Hispanic in Collier County. We're about 120,000 Hispanics in Collier County. Lee County, we're close to 200,000 Hispanics. Around 23%. So when you combine the two, Southwest Florida is almost 25% Hispanic. Mm-hmm. So why is the Hispanic population? Well, imagine what 1/4 of the population can bring to the table.
Exactly. And so I'm so grateful to work with you over the years to really focus in on, whatever business it is that you're doing, how you do focus on that. And I really thank you for being a champion for that, not just with any work that I've done, but you work with FG. I mean, can you share who are some of the partners that you've worked with to bring this to leadership to say, what are you doing? What are you doing? And how that work has helped shape some of the work that they're doing?
Great question. Thank you. Many partners. I can think of, for example, Blue Zones. Mm-hmm. At some point in time with that project, they were trying to reach most of Collier County, most of Naples, and without some of the resources that we provided to them, it would have been very difficult for them to reach that almost 30% of the population. So that's where we played a role with Blue Zones. There have been many organizations, and it's like a little bit of a humble brag that we've helped. For example,
well,
also
I asked.
you did. Collier County Supervisor of Elections. I've loved working first with Jennifer and then with Melissa. Yes, absolutely. And through Trish, she's been instrumental.
Right.
And we've been able to increase Hispanic voting in Collier County for many consecutive years. And that is, so as you know, so important. I know
you've spoken, you had these kinds of conversations with very positive conversations you've worked with the Naples Botanical Garden, FGCU, Bonita City Council, things like that, right? Mm-hmm. Am I right about all of that?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm accurate? Okay, great. Well, good. Well, thank you for having those conversations and to help us think of, what are we doing and for the, the impact that you've already had. And it's just exciting to think about the impact that you're going to have now with this foundation. So branching off the work that you do day to day, you essentially realized that you needed to do more through this new foundation. So what will the mission be that you're going to be accomplishing that you believe isn't happening yet? Because, one thing that I can say in Collier, we have over 400 nonprofits doing incredible work. And it's really important that we are not duplicating efforts, right? And that we're uplifting everybody together and we're working together and increasing impact for all. And so you and I've had these kinds of conversations that your desire is not to replicate any work, but your goal is to help uplift current work that's happening, but you've realized something a little different that you would like to, a gap that you'd like to fill. So can you share a little bit more about that mission and the gap, please?
I would love to. So again, our mission is to connect. Mm-hmm. We're not competing or trying to replace any nonprofit that's already in place. And there are so many nonprofits in Southwest Florida and Collier County that are very organized and have amazing resources to share. But what happens is that the Hispanic population almost always do not know that they exist. I like to use SBDC as an example. Often I would get calls from different individuals who would be like, can you recommend someone to help me file my Sunbiz? I want to register my LLC and I might need an accountant. And but we have a small budget. Well, there's a resource in Southwest Florida, SBDC, who would be glad to give you a 1-hour consultation with someone who is a pro. So that would be my response, right? I can do better. I can actually connect you to SBDC and they will do this for free. They're like, free? Absolutely. And many other areas. And right now, we have another big challenge is that the media habits are changing. A few years ago, it was probably easier to connect with, well, everyone in general. A media campaign could consist of a schedule on NBC and an ad in the Naples Daily News, and you would be practically covered. But that has changed. The way that people are consuming media, it's totally different. I mean, podcasts didn't exist or were not very popular up until a few years ago. And now how many people are listening to podcasts? So with Hispanics, it's even worse because, for example, we cut cords. So we don't subscribe to cable services at half the rate that non-Hispanics do. So your Univisions and your Telemundos now reach a lot less of the people. And then also, we're busy. Most of Hispanics are a lot younger in Southwest Florida, and we're working. There's a lot of blue-collar Hispanics, too, that work very long hours. So we're not at home watching the novelas throughout the day. We're on our phones. So I've recognized that challenge, and now I am implementing some changes with the media company so that we could better serve the Hispanic market and connect the many organizations that are in town. I'll get a call from an organization that's providing free mammograms, and they tell me, who do I send a press release to reach the Hispanic community? And I'm like, oh my God, that's tough because the Latinos no longer exist, which did a great job at serving our community. And Telemundo never established a local newscast. They have someone in town who feeds news into the Tampa news, and they call it a South Florida edition, but it doesn't feel like a Southwest Florida edition of the news. So it's difficult. It's difficult for organizations to connect. So that's where we want to fill that void with some of the media platforms that I'm implemented with Latinos 239 and use the foundation to deliver that message to the Hispanic community in Southwest Florida.
So thank you. And you have some specific categories of connection that you would like to focus on. Can you share a little bit about what those categories are?
Yes, I'd love to. It's a very ambitious project. It's a lot.
I believe
there
in
are
you.
many organizations like Prospera. Prospera is a wonderful nonprofit, and they simply specialize on the business aspect. And they have their hands full, and they have staffed in multiple states and many cities. And it's a lot. But again, we're not doing the work at Latinos 239. We're simply connecting the Hispanics. So what we want to do is spread the word through our media company and then bring them in, land them onto our home that's latinos239.com for now until we can have a brick and mortar space. Mm-hmm. And then from there, connect them with all these different organizations. So our 5 pillars are, number 1, employment. In no particular order of importance. Mm-hmm. I like to think of a Hispanic that just arrived to Southwest Florida. Like, what's the first thing that they need? So they need a job or they need to start their own business. So our pillar number 1 is entrepreneurship and employment, where we help them connect with open jobs that are in our market, or we help them connect with nonprofits that can set them up so that they can start their own business. That's number 1. Healthcare. There's a lot of preventative that we need to know about. There are many community events where some of the partners here from our health systems provide free resources to Hispanics, and we just don't know about it. So we want to help them spread the word so that more Hispanics can attend some of these events. The legal one, we're not providing any legal advice. We just want to connect them with some of the attorneys that would be willing to provide some answers on a no-charge basis. I know that there will be many cases where, listen, you actually need to make an appointment and these are our rates. But sometimes Hispanics, we have the money, we just don't know who to go to for this particular thing. A trademark attorney, I've been asked that question a couple of times, and I know someone who's extremely good at it, but if you ask most of Hispanics, they have no idea where to start or who to go to or how expensive that process is, and it's actually pretty reasonable. So to protect your brand. So that's the legal one. Housing is a part of what we're trying to do, and housing is a big challenge in Southwest Florida, as you're probably very aware. So Latinos need a ton of help in this department. There are many Latinos who are eligible to get a regular mortgage, and they just don't know. They don't realize that, you could be buying your own property, and there are lenders that specialize in catering to the Hispanic community and their needs. So that resource is out there. And then there are other wonderful organizations I can think of, like Habitat for Humanity, where they provide the means for Hispanics with a certain income to own their own home. So we want to connect them with those organizations that are doing fantastic fantastic work. And the last one would be?
Well, I think there's two, right? There's healthcare and education.
Education is our last one.
Okay.
So our fifth pillar, education. Number one, I think that we need to connect more Hispanics with everyone that teaches English, because for most of us, like, English is my second language. I was lucky and blessed to have come to the U.S. since I was little, so I was able to learn English. But there are many professionals with amazing degrees that get here, and they have a hard time getting a job and filling one of those many positions that are available simply because they don't know where they can go get a good class, a good English class. And then number two, connecting Hispanics with some of the major institutions, for example, FGCU and FSW, so that more Hispanics are aware of FAFSA application and how they can get into scholarships and how they can get loans, because they can get some a 2-year or a certification or a 4-year degree in our institutions.
Right. And so that leads me to just reiterate, actually two things. Obviously, it's obvious to you and I, at least, that there are tremendous nonprofits and organizations that are doing this kind of work, specifically just coming to mind FAFSA applications, whether it's Champions for Learning or Immokalee Foundation and so on and so forth. There are plenty of organizations that are doing this work. Your goal is to help connect to those resources that are already existing. So you're in a way, I think of it, like a hub.
Absolutely.
So
you're one-stop shop.
A one-stop shop to help the connections.
Yes.
You are not providing the work. You are helping people know where to go, which is fantastic. I also think it's important to note, you're making generalizations, which you're not saying, this is how it is for all, right? But what you're saying is you've noticed some trends, some needs. And with that, that's why you're making this. That's why you're starting this, right? But I think it's important to note that when certain comments that you're saying, this isn't all, this is some, and it's a trend that you've noticed, which is why you want to help.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So, well, as we kind of close up, what do you think that anyone listening today on this specific topic, what do you wish more people knew?
The importance of the Hispanic market. Most people, whether it's a business or an institution, already has their plate full, and then they'll focus on that 70% of the population. But there is that other 30. And just like my media company, there are a couple media companies that are doing good work so that we can reach the Hispanic population, and we provide a lot of resources for them. A talent to film their commercials, an editor to translate their press releases. The resources are there for their use.
That's great. So when it comes to engagement, again, think of the people listening today, watching today. If you could engage 50% of them, 10% of them, if they were to all take a step to do something to engage in this topic, or specifically with you, what would you wish everyone would do?
I wish that they could help us spread the word. I want to grow this foundation, and not selfishly, right? Because we're doing good work, and because we're providing a lot of resources to good people.
If they wanted to, learn more, do they go to your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Latinos239.com.
Okay. Andres, it was an absolute pleasure to talk with you today. And to everybody who's watching or listening today, thank you so much. I hope that you will take some steps to get engaged, because community matters.